to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast presented by Manly Bands. Josh All alone, your host today, but not for very long because I've got a special guest joining me. Eric Urbanowicz is going to come on the podcast here in just a few minutes. He is the co-host of the Brownstown USA Podcast. We're going to talk about the quarterback competition, just everything around these rookies, the veterans. Is somebody getting moved? Are we rolling with all four? Like, what are we going to be doing here at quarterback as training camp kicks off today and we head into the preseason? Then we talk a little bit about kicker. And did you guys see those ugly ass Steelers uniforms? Yeah, we're going to talk about those too. So stay tuned. Eric's coming in here in a minute. But before we dive into all the content today, I want to remind you guys, like the video, subscribe on YouTube, tap the notification bell so you don't miss anything new. Please give us a 5-star review on the audio platforms as well. If you're just listening to the podcast, we appreciate you guys. And make sure you head over to jointhedawgs.com to become an official Dog Pack member today and join the fantasy football leagues. We started divvying up the leagues, assigning people to different leagues and all that kind of stuff. We're going to set the draft dates. There are still plenty of open spots if you're interested in playing fantasy football with us this season, but you got to get in soon. We're heading into the end of July. It's going to be August before you know it. We're going to have to cut everything off here in probably 3 weeks or so. So get in now. Get your spot reserved. Play fantasy football with us at jointhedawgs.com. All right, like I mentioned in the introduction, I've got Eric Urbanowicz here with me today on the podcast. This is the co-host of the Brownstown USA Podcast. You guys can follow them over at Brownstown USA on X. Eric, thanks for joining me today on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's an honor to be here, sir. How are you today?
Very good, very good. We've had a lot of great conversations in the past on social media and things like that, so it just made sense that it's about time we connect on the podcast here and actually do a little collaboration, especially since this is the time we've all been waiting for. It seems like since the draft, yes, OTAs and minicamp were fun and exciting and all that kind of stuff, but it's a lot of that installation phase and everything, and a lot of things are getting blown out of proportion. But now it's training camp. It's been this is the longest 5-week stretch, I think, of the entire NFL season. If you're like an NFL fan or a diehard Browns fan, this 5-week summer break sucks, does it not?
It's almost like, yeah, that's pretty much what it is, because there's nothing going on. I mean, every week we just hear the same talking points, regurgitated, spun a different way. And, as someone that's been paying attention to this, it just gets boring. And, I mean, the only thing that we had to go off of happened, 2 weeks ago now? And, yeah, I don't think anybody wants to talk about that.
No, it's not the news that we would like to get during this 5-week break. Unfortunately, this has got to be like a GM's nightmare period of the NFL season, because you've got all these guys in-house for the most part, and they're going through training and weightlifting and conditioning and some practices during the spring, and then you hit that summer break period. There's a complete separation. They are not with you for 5 weeks. They're left to their own devices, and unfortunately, this is when guys get in trouble.
It always is. I mean, last year we had Michael Hall happen. Yeah. It happened to Michael Hall, rather. This year it's Judkins. I mean, that's honestly the one downside. But hopefully now that everybody's coming back to Berea, things can get normal. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
We will have to wait and see. And really, what is normal for the Browns? I feel like every year there's no consistency with this team. I mean, as much as we like to say they got consistency with the front office and the coaching staff and all that kind of stuff, the on-field product is up and down. It is a roller coaster ride, it seems like, this entire regime's history.
It's not even just this regime. We can go all the way back really to probably 2002, when it looked like we were actually getting ready to get on the right path, and then Butch Davis fails. Eric Mangini fails. Romeo Crennel sucks. Hugh Jackson, we don't like to talk about that. Why didn't we keep Greg Williams, even though we just flamed out of New York and somehow flamed out of the XFL? Yeah, no, it's nice to see a little bit of consistency with this team, but the product needs to get more consistent. But at the same time, I'll take it, because at least we're not the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely other franchises that we're so close to it as Browns fans. Obviously, we're so close to the team that I say this all the time. It's easy to get caught up in the negativity and feel like, oh man, woe is us. I mean, our team always has these issues and these ups and downs, and all these other teams have it figured out. They do not. They do not. There are other teams that, wallow in turmoil as much as we do. The Jets is one of them. The Cardinals, I know, like, come on, do you really want to be a Cardinals fan? There are other teams in the league that struggle a lot.
No, exactly. And, yes, there's a lot of doom and gloom with this team. I mean, but I feel like a lot of it's also kind of fan-made as well. I mean, we were doom and gloom during the Baker Mayfield years, and I feel like a lot of people love to just dig that up because of how well he's doing, when there's no guarantee he would have done the same thing here. But
no,
it's what we do. We like to manufacture this doom and gloom. I mean, from what I remember, we had how many people still in doom and gloom phases during the 2020 playoff run that we had, or even just 2 years ago. How many people were saying, well, they were good, but they didn't win, so we were terrible. They need to fire Kevin Stefanski for that. What are we talking about here?
I know, it's crazy, and we talk all the time about, you listen to Steelers fans every year, and they say, oh, we need to fire Tomlin. The dude's never been below 500. Now, I understand that it's getting frustrating for them not being able to win a playoff game or go any further than, round one for the last, decade. That's got to be tough, especially a team that is so used to winning. But
no, right. I mean, it's kind of funny also, because I remember people were genuinely excited for when Andrew Berry signed his extension.
Mm-hmm.
A few Steelers fans I know are already saying, when are we going to get rid of Omar Khan at this point? Like, I don't even know what it is. It's like, it's that level of people expecting something, which, believe me, I think all of us would trade that in for that immediately at this point. But at the same time, it's just like, guys, count your blessings at this point. You guys have had a playoff team consistently. I don't want to hear about it. You guys can go praise your ugly uniforms if you really want to.
Man, let's talk about that real quick. How terrible are those? And I'm not just trying to be, a jab-stabbing Browns fan going at Steelers fans online saying, hey, these things are ugly. They are freaking ugly.
No, they look like soccer uniforms.
Yes, they do.
Honestly, I was actually talking with my dad last night, and the first thing I asked him was, hey, did you see the new uniforms for the Steelers? He's just looking at me like, no, why? I showed him. He's like, so they went from Bumblebee ugly to prison ugly. Like, literally, that was the first thing out of his mouth. I'm just scrolling through Twitter and Steelers Facebook at the time. Everybody's praising it. Like, are you guys looking at the same thing? I mean, okay, I'll admit the current Steelers is classic. It hasn't changed in the 70s. I hate the Bumblebees, but I can respect the hell out of the current Steeler uniforms. They're clean. They're crisp. And the logo on one side of the helmet's weird, but whatever. But these things just look like a failed Call of Duty outfit. Like, it looks like something you would see on Call of Duty while some kid that's playing Madden NFL decided, you know what? I don't like the black helmets. Let's make them yellow.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It really is. I saw the pictures when they first came out.
No, right.
And I was like, oh, these don't look good. Like, it's busy. It's just, as like a graphic design, like I do a lot of graphic design work and stuff like that. Right. And my eye instantly goes to super busy. And then you've got like these white numbers smashed over these black, vertical stripes on the front. And then everything on the back is black. Kind of weird. And I thought these look pretty rough. And then as soon as I saw the merch store where it's just the jersey, there's no helmet, there's no pants, there's no person wearing it. It's just the jersey. Right. I instantly said, oh, soccer. It's a soccer jersey. That's what it is.
Honestly, the T-shirts even make it look just like a soccer jersey.
Yes.
I mean, it's sort of like when we had the a few years ago, what was it? When the Browns released the special Color Rush T-shirts, it's like, oh, these actually look crisp. You look at this, it's like, oh, Pittsburgh's getting a soccer stadium. for the soccer team. I honestly, the best comment was someone was saying, aren't those the jerseys that Hines Ward was wearing in The Dark Knight Rises?
I'd have to go look that up to see if that's how it looks.
I couldn't remember because I just remember everything blowing up in that one scene. It's like, okay, cool. So does that mean that they're going to blow up Pittsburgh? Because, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Crazy. Not to okay. So whenever this podcast comes out for everybody to be listening to and watching, it'll be Wednesday. We're recording this on Tuesday, so right. Just to kind of give people an idea of the timeline. But today, when you're watching, listening to this for the first time, will be the day that the Browns finally release their new alternate helmet. So we're talking about the Steelers just released their, and it's getting crapped on like crazy. And I've even seen Steeler fans in our comments saying, "Yeah, these are bad." And I'm like, I respect you for being honest, because if the Browns helmet comes out tomorrow and I don't like it, I will say I don't like it. I'm not going to be shy about it.
No, I don't blame you. In all honesty, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this new helmet, to be honest. I mean, we've seen, you guys have posted the rumor about what's supposed to be. We've posted the rumor of what's supposed to be. And I've seen a lot of mixed signals on this one, like a lot of mixed feelings. And I don't know how to feel about it.
No, I'm with you. Right. Whenever I see like the brown, and I know what's rumored, what you're talking about is like the brown helmet with either the white or orange face mask. I've seen it both ways. Not a big fan of it, just because I think the brown helmet on top of the brown jersey is going to look kind of blah, especially if it's like matte. Now, if they make it look like the Bowling Green helmets, those are sweet. I really like how Bowling Green has those browns, like
right,
real shiny helmets and everything, almost like metallic-y. But if the Browns were to throw out an orange jersey to go with it, I'd be a little more on board. I've been a big, I want orange jerseys back, but I don't think they're going to do that yet.
I wouldn't necessarily say never to that, to be honest. I don't have a scoop or anything, but I'm just looking at how this regime has not this regime as in the front office, but in ownership has done things. And it always seems like they release the helmet first, and then the next year there's some kind of jersey release. I mean, let's go back to a couple years ago. We were talking about the throwback jerseys with the, what is it? Was it the 1945 jerseys, I believe they were?
1946, wasn't it?
The 46 jerseys. And they had basically the same helmet, but they put the numbers on it. And when they released those, I couldn't help but think right afterwards, there is no way they're not going to announce a white helmet within the next year or two. Sure enough, it was back.
Yep.
So
yeah, you're right.
I have a feeling that this could be the precursor to maybe an orange jersey next year or in 2 years, but we'll have to wait and see at this point. I, like you, would love to see a return to the orange jersey, but I would like it if they went back to like the early 2000s and orange jerseys. Like, those were good. The ones that people have been trying to do that were modern, and God forbid, please do not bring back the orange jerseys that we had like 10 years ago. Please keep those in a time capsule and burn it, because nobody needs to see those jerseys ever again.
No, those were god awful. Thank God we got rid of those and went back to our more traditional classic jerseys and look. But yeah, so that'll be sometime today. You guys will be seeing, the release of the new helmets, and we'll talk about that on the next episode of the podcast and everything. So that'll be exciting, I guess, unless they turn out to be absolute garbage, which whatever, we'll just have fun clowning on it. But let's talk about this quarterback battle heading into training camp, because again, we're recording this on Tuesday, the 22nd. That's when all the veterans and everybody will have reported, everybody except for Quinshon Judkins will have reported to Berea for training camp. And then today on Wednesday, the 23rd, 4:25, correct, is the first practice.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Let's do this. So let's get training camp underway. The main headline, all training camp, and I see people from time to time in the comments and on social media say, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about the quarterback stuff. And yet those are the posts and the things and the videos that we put out that get the most traction. So clearly people want to talk about it. They want to hear about it. They want to know what's going on with this quarterback battle. And I kind of just want to get your perspective. First of all, how do you feel like the current order is set for this court? We've got Mary Kay Cabot still just this week saying she's sticking with her belief that Kenny Pickett has the edge to begin training camp as QB1. He's the most likely to start the season as QB1. And honestly, there's a lot of speculation that QB1 is between Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel. So I kind of want to get your perspective on that.
So I'm just going to say this. There's a part of me that feels like the whole Kenny Pickett narrative that we're seeing. And just as we were coming on to record this, I believe the Browns posted a picture of year 4 Kenny Pickett loading. I have a weird feeling Kenny Pickett's a red herring a little bit. I don't know what it is, but I feel like this is starting to get into the realm of earlier in the offseason with the number 2 overall pick when people were talking about, it's for sure going to be Travis Hunter. It's for sure going to be Travis Hunter. There's no way they're going to trade it. And then an hour before everything happened, the trade went down. Unofficially it went down.
Yeah.
We heard the reports that this was happening for weeks, but it wasn't confirmed until probably a couple minutes beforehand. I have a weird feeling that Kenny Pickett and all of this might be a red herring, sort of like what Josh Dobbs was a few years ago, or not Travis Hunter, Tyler Huntley was last year. Because in all honesty, I don't know how much there actually is for for Kenny Pickett at this point. There's a lot he's got to prove. He probably has more to prove than any of the other quarterbacks because it's year 4 and we still have no idea who he is. We see, as much as we love to talk about the low touchdown percentage, he still helped the Steelers win football games, as much as we hate to say that. I mean, it's not like we're sitting here talking about how he was the reason why the Steelers finished under 500.
This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Browns fans, head over to manlybands.com/dogs right now to get 30% off site-wide for the Founder's favorite sale. The founder, John, it's his birthday, and they want to celebrate the manliest way possible by putting his favorite rings on sale. And why? Well, I guess apparently nothing says happy birthday to John like giving a discount to you. Plus, use code CAMP25, CAMP25 to get an extra $25 off your order. So check out all the manly rings and things that manlybands.com has to offer. They've got chains, they've got groomsmen gifts, they've got barware, they've got all kinds of stuff along with the manliest wedding bands you're ever going to find. Awesome stuff. Awesome materials, awesome designs. You've heard me talk about it forever, but if you haven't actually gone and checked it out, now is the time to do it. 30% off site-wide for the Founders Favorites sale at manlybands.com/dogs and use promo code CAMP25 for an extra $25 off your order.
Since 1989, Mount Hope Fence has set the standard in outdoor living. From decks and railings to fences and patios, we've got you covered. Our lineup features top brands like TimberTech, Alumagard, Preferred Railing, and Unilock, along with our own premium Duralux vinyl products. For over 30 years, we've partnered with contractors ensuring reliable job site delivery. Discover quality and excellence in all things outdoors with Mount Hope Fence.
No, you're absolutely right. But at the same time, do you honestly believe Kenny Pickett could be the long-term future for the Cleveland Browns?
He would have to have a Sam Darnold year, and even with that, I don't even think Sam Darnold is going to be as great as he was in
Me either.
Yeah, no, I feel like Sam Darnold had that one and done year, like what Blake Bortles had for 1 year, or this one's going to suck to say, kind of what a lot of people think Joe Flacco had here in Cleveland, but that one, I'm going to wait to see what happens first. But you asked order before. I have a feeling Flacco is going to be number 1 just because they're already saying that he's probably not going to take as many reps at number 1 just because they already know who he is. He knows the system. It seems like he's going to be that number one guy. I have a feeling that's number one. Number two, I think is going to be Dillon Gabriel, to be completely honest with you. I think a lot of people are overlooking Dillon, and I'm not saying that because I like the pick. Honestly, I did not like Gabriel in the draft process. It only took until like about a month ago before I started realizing, oh, he's actually a smart guy. Oh, he's not bad. I mean, we need to see how he adjusts with the size as well as if he can go throw the deep ball at the NFL level. But honestly, I wouldn't rule him out, to be honest, at this point. And good.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
And then number three, Shedeur Sanders. Like, I don't want to sit here and say, I think that there's two routes with Shedeur. The first one being, I think they're going to try to develop him and see how he goes during the season. And then ultimately, depending on where they're drafting next year, they could make the call to go with somebody else. Because if we have a top 5 pick, they're not going to pass on a Lenore Sellers or a Kate Klubnik or a Drew Nussmeier. But if it's later, I could see them maybe making a pass on somebody like a Drew Aller or somebody like that.
Yeah, so the whole Gabriel thing. So I saw a post, I think it was on X, and I apologize, I forget who posted it, but the overall notion of the post was that really nobody in the pre-draft process was very high on Dillon Gabriel. He wasn't one of the quarterbacks that anybody was ever talking about. No one had him higher than really like maybe a 4th round pick. At the same time, everybody in the pre-draft process had Shedeur Sanders as a 1st round pick, maybe early 2nd round pick at the lowest, but at least among respected analysts and, you know, not just some trolls here and there trying to be, oh, he's undraftable or whatever. Right. Shedeur Sanders was by all accounts a 1st round talent. Not to say that Dillon Gabriel can't defy the odds the way a guy like, you know, Brock Purdy did and stuff like that. But I mean, nobody had Purdy ranked high either, but Gabriel, he's also got this size working against him. It historically does not work well in the NFL. Now I've been on record saying it doesn't mean it can't work.
Right.
But I've also now seen several beat reporters from minicamp and OTAs that have all said the same thing, that he is smaller than what they anticipated with him being listed at 5'11", like 205, that they were kind of blown away in a bad way by how small he is. So I don't know. I know it does feel like the Browns, I don't want to say they have an agenda, but I can't think of a better way to word it, that it is, we picked this guy in the 3rd round. He was our guy. And we're going to give him every opportunity to be the guy.
Right. Like, that's kind of how I feel a little bit there. I mean, I know I'm contradicting myself with that, but at the same time, like, a lot of the people that were saying this, and these are some of the people that I do remember, were kind of saying the same thing about Baker Mayfield at first a little bit. Like, we have the infamous clip of Tony Grossi that got him suspended from his job, if you remember that.
Yep.
But not to say that, you know, I think Dillon Gabriel is going to be this next great quarterback. I don't think he's going to be Tom Brady. Let's make that point clear. I think Shedeur Sanders has a better chance of being that Tom Brady. But probably the one thing that I think a lot of people are also discounting is that when you talk about how small, and when you talk about it, I honestly do think that Gabriel might actually be a better fit for the system, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of people are talking about how he wasn't great at times, and fair play. He wasn't great. He was small. Kevin Stefanski's offense, though, doesn't really play that. It's more along the lines of, can you play smart with the football? Think about the quarterbacks that we have had. Case Keenum. He had a hell of a college career. Was in the NFL. Like, had moments, but he was never like the guy anywhere. Except for maybe a season in Houston, but even then they didn't really believe in him that much. But he played smart and knew when to throw checkdowns, knew that, you know, the best way to get down the field was to just take your time with it rather than bomb, bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel like the Dillon Gabriel pick, to be honest with you, like, it took a lot of thinking about this, but this is, in my opinion, just them trying to get back to like the normalcy that this team had, because Deshaun Watson, or I don't know if that's a banned word on the show at all. I don't know, because I know people that will literally say X or name redacted. I remember that was was the departure from what Kevin Stefanski was used to. I mean, we knew he was a quarterback coach for Case Keenum in Minnesota. And the next year, he's the offensive coordinator for Kirk Cousins, who fits that smart role, that still takes chances, but, and in all honesty, does know when to take the check down and knows when to be smart with it. Baker Mayfield, he tried to get him to fit that mold. Not that it didn't work, but at the same time, like, there was a little bit of uneasiness, and there were always rumors about what was really going on in there. Keenum again, probably the best example was Jacoby Brissett. Like, Jacoby Brissett was the type of quarterback that worked extremely well with Kevin Stefanski. Had decent legs, knew when to throw knew when to throw short or medium, but didn't always have to push the deep ball. But it worked out, and even though the team didn't make the playoffs, that, in my opinion, says less about Kevin Stefanski or Jacoby Brissett, and it says more about the guy that came in after him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The history of Kevin Stefanski is winning games with non-athletic quarterbacks, really. Just I'll say very simple, structured quarterbacks that are very smart, high processors, and that's what has been going around, that the decision is going to be made by who can process the best, who can make the best decisions. I do understand a lot of fears from fans that are saying, well, a lot of the clips from Dillon Gabriel have been like more check down and short passes. And it does go back to, I know Kevin wasn't running the offense so much last year as Ken Dorsey, but you went from a time period where Deshaun Watson was taking throws downfield. I mean, he had some big plays with Amari Cooper downfield and stuff, some nice throws. And then it came into last year, and I don't think how many balls did he even throw that were past 20 yards? Like one or two? I mean, everything was a check down. It was check down to the running back, check down to the tight end. And that's why we weren't converting third downs. We had low, offensive outputs. It was terrible to watch. And I do fear that there is more of an emphasis on this dink and dunk game. I just don't know how well it's going to work, especially if we were going to try to rely heavily on the run game. Well, and if Judkins was a big part of that, or a big part of that plan, I mean, things are getting a little bit foiled already.
No, right. And that's honestly a very good point to bring up. I mean, the dink and dunk, part of the problem also that I do feel, I know this is a very underrated point, or not underrated, but a very overlooked point. Ken Dorsey's offense did not mesh with Kevin Stefanski's offense. And we always talk about, anyone that talks about it knows this is exactly what one of the bigger issues was, and probably a reason why Kevin's probably going to get this year and then more than likely next year. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Everyone's talking about how this is the last year of Kevin Stefanski. I don't think it is, because next year, if they get a high pick, they're going to let him pick his quarterback. We know this by now. It's basically been implied by every single beat reporter. It's been said. The only people that aren't saying it are the fans that have been saying that, we shouldn't have hired Stefanski in the first place. We should have hired Josh McDaniel. By the way, how did that turn out? Or we should have hired Robert Saleh. How did that turn out?
Yeah.
But back to the point, yeah, I have a feeling that, this year probably would have been the year if the quarterback class was actually decent. The problem is, we look at this quarterback class and it was trash. So, of course, that's how he gets stuck with it. There was nobody in free agency. They weren't going to trade for somebody because how often have we seen the quarterback trade work out very well? How did Aaron Rodgers do with the Jets? How's Russell Wilson doing right now? Do I even need to bring up his name again? I already did it once. That's the problem. Like, you get your quarterback nowadays from the NFL draft. That's why Kevin, I think, gets one more year, because you're not there were no first round quarterbacks that were worth a damn this year. I mean, Cam Ward I was a huge fan of, but it was made no secret early on that the Tennessee Titans wanted him.
Mm-mm.
And Shedeur, we know what happened with him. He fell for some reason, and maybe it's said to be the pre-draft process, but we don't know. But again, you need to next year will be the guy that I feel like will fit Stefanski's system. But the only thing that could derail that, and this is something I think is a possibility. It's not as much as I think people want to. It's not as much as people are talking about. Only thing that would derail them is a 0-2 win season.
True. That would also guarantee you that top pick for your quarterback.
Yeah, it would.
So you're talking. You've referred to a lot about Kevin picking his quarterback in next year's draft, the quarterback next year, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So are you no chance for Shedeur Sanders?
I think Shedeur will get a chance, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's less of a chance than people think. I mean,
what do you mean by chance? Do you mean like based on his talent or based on what the Browns are going to be willing to give him?
I think it's going to be more so based on what the Browns... Actually, more of a combination of the two, if I'm going to be honest. Just because, realistically, the way I'm looking at the quarterback room as we speak, I'm thinking Kenny Pickett's going to be trade bait, because we're already starting to see quarterbacks go down, as well as the fact is I don't buy that the Saints are fully comfortable with Tyler Shuck at this point. So I think someone will will try to make an offer for Kenny Pickett. It's just a case of if the Browns actually do it or not. So I'm just going to leave. Yep. So I'm not going to include him in this. I'm probably, as I say this, I will fully admit I'm probably going to be wrong now, and it'll be starting week 1, and I'm going to be drinking a few. I'm going to be pounding too many beers at this point, but that's just one thing. I do think that, like I said, Flacco is probably going to get most of the shots at the gig, just because Kevin knows what he is and knows that he can fit the offense. I think Gabriel, unless he loses out to Shedeur, which is possible, but I'd put it at unlikely at this point. Just because if they took him earlier than Shedeur, then that's usually an indication. I think that realistically, Shedeur is either going to be someone that's brought in later in the season, sort of like, and I'm not using this for the hype reasons, but I'm going to just say it. It would be like what we saw with a Patrick Mahomes, for example. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be Patrick Mahomes. There's nobody that's going to be like Patrick Mahomes. But if you remember, they drafted him. He sat out almost all this first season, maybe played 1 week, and then they just went with him the next year. I could see that situation unless they get that early draft pick that's just too good not to pass up, like that golden ticket, if you will.
Yeah, the reason I'd push back a little bit on that, though, is because, the Chiefs example, the way they went about their quarterback position was they traded up in the first round to get Patrick Mahomes, to get their quarterback of the future. They knew that. They knew he was going to be their guy moving forward. Or at least he was going to be the guy gifted that opportunity to be the guy. And it made sense for them. There was no doubt that the following season, that was the plan. There is total doubt right now, because even if the Browns were to roll with veterans the entire season, and it was like Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and then we're just going to let Shedeur learn and then give him a couple starts at the end of the season, and then next year we'll probably let him be the guy. That's not the case with Shedeur Sanders, because they didn't want him. They passed on him 6 times. they were perfectly fine with some other team taking him. It just got to the 5th round to a point where it's like, well, the value here, we could take somebody else, or we could take this highly touted quarterback and just see what happens. So they rolled the dice there, but the investment is so minimal. The interest obviously was super low. And with 2 first-round picks next year to allocate to the quarterback position, I feel like if Shedeur does not get ample opportunity during the season to showcase what he can do, he's never going to get that, at least not here.
No, and that very well could also be the case as well. I mean, let's be honest. We weren't the only ones that did this. I mean, literally, you had 31 other teams that did it, but you could also say the same thing about, as we've brought up, Brock Purdy as well as Tom Brady. Again, there is no guarantee, and you're also talking about 2 different styles of actually technically 3 different styles of quarterback play right there. But I also am just curious, though, what the leash is actually going to be for the situation. I mean, realistically, we're talking about this right now. Lack of a better word, we don't know jack about what's going on. Like, for all we know, they could have just said, you know what, let's see how far it goes. Let's kick the can. Because, well, and from what I heard, I thought there was also a rumor going around that Philadelphia was actually about to take Shedeur if we didn't trade up for him.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I mean, mind you, they're not gonna bench Jalen Hurts for Shedeur unless Jalen just got too expensive. But it's the Eagles; they don't do that. They're not. It's the Eagles. It's not the Bengals.
No, right. The Eagles have the very same mindset with how they handle the cap and their roster and everything, player personnel, the way we do. I mean, that's
right.
We're very similar in that regard. The Bengals are not. They have no idea basically how to handle the cap whenever you're putting the 2 side by side. So it's a completely different. This episode is sponsored by ISSA. Browns fans, if you're into health and fitness, have you ever wondered how you could maybe turn those hobbies and your passion into an actual career? If that sounds interesting to you, then ISSA has the opportunity you've been looking for. ISSA is the International Sports Science Association, and they can help you become a certified personal trainer in as little as 3 months. And right now you can get $100 off your certification when you sign up through our link, joinissa.com/Dawgs, DAWGS. Now, certifications are 100% online, self-study, and self-paced. You can study anywhere from your phone, tablet, or computer. And the final exam is open note, open book, aka piece of cake. Except you fitness nuts probably don't eat a ton of cake, so let's just call it a piece of delicious protein bar. And ISSA has the #1 job guarantee in the industry. If you get certified and sign up to be a certified trainer with ISSA, you have a job guarantee or your money back. ISSA has over 10,000 gym partners that have over 73,000 open jobs for trainers right now. And you don't need a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. You just need your certification to qualify for these jobs. So what are you waiting for? With certification this simple, there's no excuse not to pursue your passion and become a certified personal trainer today. Get $100 off your certification at joinissa.com/Dawgs. You've wanted to make a change long enough. Now it's time to do something about it. That's joinissa.com/Dawgs for $100 off your personal trainer certification.
Before we go any further, I just want to say, hey, how's it going, Trey? How's Florida, buddy?
Man, it's obviously these deals have a way of getting done over the summer. Very rarely does a player end up holding out into the season. But again, it's the Bengals we're talking about. There's a reality where the Browns host the Bengals week 1, and the Bengals do not have Trey Hendrickson or Shamar Stewart on the defensive side of the ball. It could be, if our defense can put a clamp down on the Bengals and Joe Burrow, which they always start out season slow out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an interesting week 1 if we get, just depending on who's playing quarterback for us.
Right. And in all honesty, it's just, while we talk about it a lot, I do think that, as much as fans want to talk about how bad of an owner Jimmy Haslam is, at least he's willing to pay.
He'll
Mike Brown
shell out the cash.
Go shell out the cash. He'll shell out the cash to get rid of you, if you worst case. Yeah, no, Bengals, and they literally hired and kept Marvin Lewis as a head coach for over a decade and have absolutely nothing to show for it. They don't even have a playoff win with Marvin Lewis, so.
Yeah, that's for sure. So going back then to the quarterback stuff and
right. So
I feel like whether it's warranted or not, by the time we get through training camp preseason and we actually get to see these quarterbacks in game situations and that kind of stuff, but if we've got somebody out there on the field that is not Shedeur Sanders and they are struggling, I feel like the fan base is going to be in an uproar, or at least the majority of the fan base, because I think there is a very strong interest from Browns fans in Shedeur Sanders. Hey, we got this guy who was, everybody said he was a first-round talent. We got him in the 5th round. If he's just sitting on the bench and we've got Dillon Gabriel out there struggling or something,
right?
I don't. The patience is going to be low.
No, right. And I actually remember a similar situation back in, when was it? It was the year that we had Josh McCown as quarterback. If you remember, we remember, it was the first year of those god-awful jerseys that we were talking about and before.
Yeah.
And I remember being at Browns Raiders and just sitting in the stands. It was a close game. Josh was actually having a decent game from what I remember. Every fan was disinterested, though, because of who was on the bench. The same guy that... Oh, it was nobody. It was somebody big. It was the same guy that just decided to trash us for no reason last week.
Oh, that was that Johnny, the Johnny year?
Yep, that was a Johnny year. It was a semi-close-ish game, and nobody cared. They were too busy chanting, "We want Johnny," and booing Josh on every play because of that. And this was after, I believe, a win in Tennessee, so they were 1-1. If it gets to that point, I feel like unless Joe Flacco or Shedeur is out there, you might see the same reaction. And I think there's going to be a storm to be weathered regardless, unless you go on some miraculous winning streak like they did with PJ Walker last year. Or not last year, sorry, 2 years ago.
Which we had no business winning games with PJ Walker and DTR. I mean, we definitely had things break our way a lot in 2023 to the point where Joe Flacco was able, and even things when he was playing, things broke our way. Because the Bears game, I'm sorry, we play a competent football team in that situation, we lose because we gifted them 14 of their 17 points on turnovers. If they had any bit of a competent offense, we'd have lost that game. And even then, it came down to a Hail Mary pass. I remember everybody was crapping their pants like, oh my gosh, don't catch this.
No, I mean, you know what? Shout out to D'Anthony Bell for making the play, but at the same time, I just remember we had that situation. Like that was the theme of the season, and you know, if you had the Dustin Hopkins that we had last year, we don't win those games. Like, and that's honestly why I don't fully buy that. Hopkins is even going to be the kicker this year. You know what? We've talked here a lot about quarterbacks, and maybe we can, maybe we'll touch on it some more as we go, but that's a great point to bring up. We haven't talked enough, I think, about the kicker situation. We brought it up a few times, but it's worth going into because of how critical getting those 3 points and really getting that extra point after a touchdown. I mean, that is critical in a football game, NFL, because the average margin of victory is like 3.5 points or something like that. It's close games, one-score games. Kicks make all the difference. I mean, that's why P.J. Walker was able to lead the Browns to a win over the 49ers because Jake Moody missed an easy field goal to end that game. Otherwise, we lose that one. If I remember, I missed 2 field goals in that whole game. So, literally, we were gifted twice. And this was someone that was used to playing in that type of weather because he came from Michigan.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right, but, it's important. And, last year, I think a lot of people saw exactly why Dustin Hopkins has bounced around from so many teams. I love D-Hop. He was great in his first year. However, I don't know if it was the injury shaking his confidence. I don't know if he was getting gun shy after the injury. I don't know if it's just his history repeating, but I gotta be honest. There were points in this offseason that I thought that Andre Schmidt, or however you pronounce it, might actually be more of a competition kicker than people actually want to realize. And then I just remember reading a post somewhere about the fact that the Bears have this kicking competition, and it just reminded me immediately of what we saw in Los Angeles a couple years ago. Who was it? I believe it was Kyron Fairburn is competing with Cairo Santos. So tell me that, and both of them have kicked in Cleveland before, or whether like Cleveland. Cairo's been in Chicago for a while. Fairburn has kicked in other places other than Houston. I would not be shocked if Cleveland's looking at this and saying, that one of these guys is going to be our guy. We just have to wait because we have Dustin Hopkins, who his contract's very easy to get rid of.
Is it? Because I have to look it up real quick because I was thinking it was like they paid him, they extended him probably a little too soon.
Oh yeah,
but
no, they did that.
Is this the year where we're good to go on that?
I thought he signed a 2 or 3 year deal, but from what I thought the money was more upfront. I could be wrong on that one, but at the same time, it wasn't like, and while it was a large one for a kicker, I don't think it was like impossible, if that makes sense.
Well, it's definitely not impossible. For a kicker,
No.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. It's a large one. So OTC, over the cap, is saying if they were to cut him now, the dead cap would be to about $2.1 million.
Right, and which is still significantly less, I believe, than, say, when we cut Ogbo Okoronkwo.
Yeah, I'd have to pull that up to see because we definitely have a lot of dead cap we're paying out here.
Right, but the thing is, kicker, as much as we don't want, as much as people just look at it and say, oh, well, kicker can be anything. In this situation, I think last year and even the year before, we saw how important of a role this actually is.
For sure.
I mean, in all honesty, do you want Cade to work back here?
It's tough, man. I mean,
no, right.
So you're right. Hopkins in 23 was like the best kicker in the NFL until he got hurt. He was clutch. I mean, he was 100% from 50 plus, only missed a couple kicks, I think, the entire season. It was the highest percentage of his career, all that kind of stuff. But you're right. His overall career has been that roller coaster we talked about, where he'll have a good season, bad season, mediocre season. He's kind of a mid-level kicker overall because the highs and the lows balance out. He's pretty mid-tier. And we paid him as if and extended him as if that number one overall season was going to continue. And that was the norm for him, which was kind of silly to think at the time, looking back at the history, because it's just not who he is. And then last year we got an ultimate low, like the worst kicker in the NFL. So I'm hoping it levels out at least somewhere in the middle, but it would be great to be on the upper half of that because we desperately need to make these kicks, especially with likely a rookie quarterback playing at most points during the season, a run game that now we're unsure if it's even going to work the way we had originally intended for it to work. We're going to need to be able to make our freaking kicks and get those points when we have them on the board.
Right. And, I think something that is interesting still is, this is a point that I don't think a lot of people realize. Ellerson Smith did retire last week, if I remember correctly, or he was placed on the reserve retired list. That does mean we have a spot open. There's not many kickers out there on the market that are very well-known factors. I would keep an eye out, though, because with training camp, we know that they will try to make a trade for somebody, because we saw it a couple years ago when it was Cade York. And there was one other kicker I thought that they brought in as well at the time. It wasn't, I was about to say Chase McLaughlin, but no, Cade took his job. There was a different kicker we brought in. Neither one impressed. So that's when the Dustin Hopkins trip. Because of the price of kickers nowadays, I wouldn't be shocked if there was at least some monitoring. I don't know what the other kicking situations are, but I have a weird feeling that there is a kicking situation that we have our eye on. And we're not the Baltimore Ravens, so it's not Justin Tucker.
Right. Yeah. And you make a good point about when they did trade for Hopkins, because, we said the entire preseason we're watching. First of all, Cade York struggled mightily as a rookie in 22. And then we come into the preseason in 2023 and we're going out there in these preseason games and he's missing kicks in the preseason games. It's like, God, we cannot roll with this kid. If we have if we're serious about trying to win games this year, this isn't going to work. And the Browns saw that too. And they said, yep, that's exactly how we feel. They cut him. They traded for Dustin Hopkins and all that kind of stuff. So I could see them doing something similar again, because you're right. The dead cap money, while it's high for a kicker, and it is actually more than Obo. Obo was actually is 1 point, just a little under $2 million. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is crazy. But yeah, so it's still, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a ton, and they could move on from him if they choose to.
Right. It's just a question of if there's somebody that they can get first. We're talking about all this, but Chicago Bears could say, you know what, we're going to keep 2 kickers because we have no idea what we're doing. It's Ryan Poles or Pace or whatever his name is. I don't really give a damn.
I think it's Poles, but yeah.
I think we don't know. They're so out of their depth, and yet they extended the guy, so who knows?
Yeah, you're right. There are definitely kicker situations in competitions and stuff to monitor as well. That's kind of where Dustin Hopkins became available, because he lost his kicking battle out in L.A. and became expendable. So the Browns were able to trade for him. Because obviously if the Chargers are like, now this is our kicker, they're not going to trade him, because they're a competitive football team as well. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah. Imagine a world where they kept Dustin Hopkins and let Cameron Dicker go. I would have... Right. I would probably hurt somebody just for that to happen.
And then you got to think, are we just at a point where in Cleveland we're just not allowed to have nice things? We're not going to get a consistent kicker here. The quarterback situation's always in flux. It's wild. This episode is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. Browns fans, I can't tell you guys how many people I've known over the years who have missed out on job opportunities simply because they don't have the right degree or even have a degree at all. These are people who otherwise would have been perfect for the position they wanted, but they got turned away simply because of educational requirements. If you've ever felt stuck in a job you didn't enjoy, or you felt unqualified or unable to advance your career due to your lack of education or experience, heck, maybe you even have a degree, but now you feel like you chose the wrong major, Southern New Hampshire University could be the answer for you. Go to snhu.edu/bark, B-A-R-K, to learn how you can get started today. SNHU has programs in psychology, cybersecurity, computer science, sports management, game development, data analytics, and finance. SNHU is one of the largest online accredited universities in the United States, and their programs are radically affordable. Their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. And you might even be eligible for financial aid or have prior college credits that could fast track your degree at SNHU. And because networking is everything, your courses are taught by faculty with real world experience, so you'll have opportunities to connect with people inside the industry. And then when you graduate, SNHU will still be there to help you as you begin your job search. So if you're ready for something new, head over to snhu.edu/bark and learn how you can get started working toward your new career today. What do you think about the wide receiver? I guess we'll hit a couple more topics here before we wrap it up, but the wide receiver room, largely unproven. Really from top to bottom, Jerry Jeudy has now had a top 10 season in the NFL, but it's 1 out of 5. I consider that, a one-off in the grand scheme of his career to this point. I'm expecting it to continue. I'm hoping for it to. That's the anticipation, but to guarantee it or to say I'm confident, I don't know if I'm there yet.
Here's the thing. I think Jeudy could get there. I want to see what he does with these quarterbacks, first. Last year we were talking about Jerry Jeudy with Jameis Winston. I would consider Flacco an upgrade over Winston. Kenny Pickett, not at all. And these rookies are just giant question marks at this point.
Right.
So
right.
I want to see at least another year before saying that I'm feeling confident that he's going to be good. Cedric Tillman, I think, has the potential to be good. It's just the health. And I know that I was talking with a buddy of mine on Twitter who keeps saying, you can't really say health. And I just said, he missed the last 4 or 5 games with a concussion.
6.
Okay, I thought it was 6, but I couldn't remember. And then he also had the slow start because of an injury in his rookie year. So while I don't hate the idea that he could be good or consistent, I'm not ready to sit here and say he's a surefire answer there. Behind them, Jamari Thrash, we need to see him more on the field to get any kind of sense of anything. I'd personally like this Luke Floria kid.
Yeah, me too.
Mentor. I want to see him get the opportunities, but at the same time, he was also an undrafted rookie, so that's a scratch-off ticket right there. I feel like I'm missing somebody in that wide receiver room, but
Deontay
Johnson, he's got, and that's right. So I forgot about Johnson because, in all honesty, there was no fanfare with him other than, oh, he's going to drop the ball there. This is somebody that needs to go out and prove himself at this point. I'm not going to sit here and say that I feel confident with him. And then the rest, the other undrafted free agents, like Gage Lavardis, whatever the hell his name is.
Larvadane,
Lardass, something like that.
Caden, was it Caden Davis? I'm trying to think of the names I was seeing.
I know, Cade McDonald.
Yeah.
These are all guys I would love to root for because a lot of them are local guys that went to, either went to high school around Ohio or grew up or went to the University of Ohio, Miami, Ohio, Kent State. But at the end of the day, I don't know what to expect from these guys. It's almost like coming out and saying, hey, we got these guys. Let me introduce you to Rashard Higgins. Let me introduce you to
Jordan Payton.
Jordan Payton. And what do you call it? It's like,
Ricardo Lewis.
Ricardo. Wow, God, what a bust he was. And Ricardo was the guy that was literally hanging out with Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry for a practice. One of these things is not like the other. But you don't feel confident in that. I mean, you'd like to see them step out, but at the end of the day, the best way to put it is, and I'm going to quote a line that Dennis Eckersley, former Hall of Fame pitcher for the Red Sox and Oakland Athletics, said about the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hodgepodge of nothingness right now. Once you get past Judy and to an extent Tillman, we have no idea what these guys have right now. And it's not like, and in a division that right now we see someone like the Bengals have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, with the Ravens having Bateman, who just got an extension. You have DeAndre Hopkins now there. You have Zay Flowers, and then the Steelers, who have DK Metcalf and Jonnu Smith. What do we have? I mean, I love David Njoku, but these are some high-powered offenses that have the potential to be good, except for the Steelers, because they have Skeletor at quarterback. So realistically, this wide receiver room is clearly the weakest in the whole division. That's a bit nerve-wracking.
For sure. And it's definitely the worst in the division. And if it's not the worst wide receiver room, at least, with proven production on paper in the entire NFL, it's got to be bottom 3. I can't think of very many. I mean, maybe Tennessee is a little weaker just because they've got one guy who's 30 years old and Calvin Ridley, and the rest are rookies and unproven guys. And at least we've got Judy and Tillman, who we've seen do it at the NFL level. But I mean, there aren't very many receiver rooms that I can think of worse than us.
No, exactly. And realistically, it feels like in that instance, it kind of reminds me, and this is probably going to scar some people with what I'm about to say, it reminds me of the Sashi Brown era Browns with the wide receiver.
You're not wrong.
No, and the one thing I will give is I think the running back room is slightly better than that era because, no offense, Terrence West and can't even remember the other one's name.
Was that Isaiah Crowell?
That's who it was. Isaiah
Okay.
Crowell and Terrence West. Not quite the level of Jerome Ford alone, unfortunately, which we've seen Jerome have good runs and good years, but still not ideal.
Right.
And honestly, I do think that, Dylan Sampson could at least be better than Terrence West.
One would certainly hope so, being the reigning SEC Offensive Player of the Year and all that kind of stuff. But
hey, that means something nowadays, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Eric, before I get you out of here,
yes, sir.
Give me your just quick hitter prediction for the Browns this season. I mean, if you had to give sort of a record prediction, where do you think we're going to land? Is it going to be good, bad? Just how do you feel like this season's going to go?
I honestly think it's going to be rough to mid, to be honest. I mean, we have one of the hardest schedules this year. And while that doesn't mean anything because of any given Sunday, just looking at it on paper, not knowing who the quarterback is, not positive what the wide receiver room is going to be, probably relying on the tight ends and the running backs more than anything. Yeah. That's a scary situation. The defense is probably what's going to keep us in games. And, there's honestly a chance that if they're good, it's going to be more similar to a 2023 where the defense carried the team and they get a bunch of lucky breaks. I don't think anyone's going to get fired, to be honest, because I think that they're going to at least give it a year to try to get the system in, as well as the fact that Kevin does have at least 2 awards that, while everyone says aren't real awards, it does mean something when you look at some of the other people that have won it, including the one guy that everybody wanted to fire Kevin for to keep as head coach. That's now with the New England Patriots. I also I'm going to be honest, I think as bad as it is, I also think that realistically, we could end up with 2 top 10 picks because I got to tell you, I'm looking at the Jaguars. I don't trust them, and I have a weird feeling they could actually be worse than us at times.
That would be interesting, considering they've definitely got more talent than we do.
Hey, talent means
at least on offense. Now, defense, right. I would take our defense probably over theirs any day of the week.
But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they literally destroyed that wide receiver room. And yeah, they got Travis Hunter, and he's this awesome player. I have a weird feeling Travis is going to take at least a year to get going, especially because he's going to try to do the dual thing. Mm-hmm. And I pay way too much attention on social media. I think his wife is going to be a big part of a possible downfall because literally the media is all over her for whatever reason. I personally don't care. I would have accepted it if he was here. I would have dealt with it because we literally have dealt with the Baker and Emily situation when he was at Cheesecake Factory. We dealt with Odell Beckham Jr. cheating on his girlfriend at the time on a whatever and with whatever. We've seen the drama before, but at the end of the day, let's be completely real here. As talented as he may be, I don't trust Trevor Lawrence, to be honest with you. I think he's shown that, and he has shown me nothing to say he is an NFL-level quarterback at this point. So
I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, mid-tier at best. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is as so far, and it's been four seasons now or whatever. He's been through his rookie contract. Right. He's got his extension, but the production has been average NFL quarterback. Like, take it or leave it. You could easily move on. I mean, if he was not the number 1 overall pick, touted as a generational prospect, best in tangible, blah, blah, blah. We hear it all. He wouldn't be there.
And that's the thing. Like, it's not even just a case of that. This is going to sound like a weird comparison here. It reminds me of how people felt with Baker Mayfield after a while here in Cleveland. Like,
that's right. Yes.
Jacksonville gave him how many different targets? Like, whether we're talking about Christian Kirk if you remember the brief stint he had there.
Mm-hmm.
He had Gabe Davis. Now he has Travis Hunter. They literally built up the offensive line, and he has done nothing with it. Like, yeah, he had the one playoff game, big whoop. The reason that they won that playoff game was because of a botched kick. It wasn't like he had that strong defense that we had against the Steelers in 2020, where we literally put up 6 points without the offense stepping foot on the field.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's got nothing going on for them right now, and I think a lot of it stems from the fact that they have a quarterback that's no bueno.
Yeah.
Or at least mid.
It's a good first round pick to have next year if you're betting on a team to not really live up to some expectations or to really be all that great, maybe bottom half of the league. Yeah, I think Jacksonville, good pick to have. Definitely a good first round pick to own.
Before you let me go, let me ask you really quick though.
Okay.
So let's say that the Browns do have a top 5 pick and get two top 10 picks. Let's say that Jacksonville's is in the top 10. Like, let's say that they're third, and let's say the Browns have the 6th pick. Like, they were bad, but not bad enough to be in the top 5. Who is your early prediction for who you would want in those spots?
To be honest with you, I have not really started looking at the draft class for 2026 in any sort of depth.
Right.
Obviously, if we're that bad, we're probably going to need a quarterback. And without having evaluated the quarterbacks, it's really hard for me to say. I know the names, I know the players that people are hyped about, and I'm excited to watch college football this season for that specific reason, to see how these guys develop and progress throughout the year. I know Klubnik from Clemson is a hot name. I know a lot of local people, especially like Drew Aller at Penn State, because he's Ohio guy and everything like that. He's from the Cleveland area.
Right.
When I watch Drew Aller, I haven't been overly impressed, but when I go and I just look at his raw numbers and his statistics, they're impressive.
Right.
So there's definitely a disconnect for me between what he actually puts out and then what I see with my eyes when I watch the games. Right. Maybe that changes this year. Then you got a guy like Sellers. I'm just trying to figure out which guy kind of fits in with Stefanski. Is it Nussmeier from LSU? And then at the other pick, if that were the case, so much rides on what happens with like DeJuan Jones at left tackle. If he proves to be an adequate left tackle and a good starter, maybe we don't need to take a tackle that high in the draft and we can wait till the second round to get a guy. I would take a receiver. I'd take the top receiver in the class if I could, whoever that may be.
Right. I think that's actually a smart way. I mean, I do agree you go quarterback with one of them. But again, and like you said, with a lot of it's going to ride on DeJuan Jones. If he's not good, I'd watch for the kid from Utah right now. Like, their offensive line, they have 2 studs. I'd keep an eye on them. And this is probably I'd go back to the Ohio State well on defense. A lot of people think that Caleb Downs is going to be, and I'm not an Ohio State. Spoiler alert! Go ahead and boo me. Go ahead and shun me. I mean, I watch UConn football as well as University of Miami, Florida. So take from that what you will. I think Caleb Downs, if they found a way to snag him, then you basically have the Infinity Gauntlet nearly complete for that defense.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I forgot about Caleb Downs, which is silly because I'm obviously an Ohio State guy.
Right.
I am so hyper-focused on how bad the offense is.
How
bad I projected to be, how bad it was last year, historically bad. They're gonna need some serious injection of talent into that offense, but
easily. But like I said, we've said the same thing back in 2018, and somehow Brashad Perriman somehow came out of nowhere and had a decent. But realistically, I would expect in no short order, the first 3 picks to be quarterback, wide receiver, safety, and just have it shuffled in some way, shape, or form. But it's way too early. I was just curious and just wanted to have a little fun.
No, it's training camp's just kicking off, so there's no problem with talking about the future. But we are gonna, in future episodes here coming up, we're dialing in. Me and Justin are going to be up there for training camp on Saturday. It's supposed to rain the whole time, so we'll see how that goes. I want to try to get a good evaluation with my own eyeballs of these quarterbacks. Now, if it's raining all day, we'll see how that goes. But hopefully everything works out. But Eric, I really do appreciate you coming in here and talking, and we'll have to have you back on here at some point on the podcast. And, thanks again for breaking down the quarterbacks and just everything Browns with us. If you guys want to follow Eric, head over to X. It's Brownstown USA on X, or what is your personal handle?
My personal handle on Instagram as well as Twitter is Eric Produce. A lot of Browns stuff, a lot of Red Sox stuff. I try to stay away from politics, but it just gets impossible sometimes.
We live in a world. I mean, it's hard to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
But
and
then check out Brownstown USA Podcast. Eric's co-host over there. So again, Eric, thanks for joining us, and we'll have you back on here soon, hopefully.
Hey, anytime. You know how to hit me up.
Hope you guys enjoyed my conversation with Eric Urbanowicz. Make sure you guys follow him everywhere. Like he mentioned, go check out the Brownstown USA Podcast and let us know in the comments, how do you guys feel about this quarterback competition as training camp kicks off this week? Are we moving somebody? You had Will Levis go down, and he's going to be out for the entire season for the Titans, so they're down a backup quarterback behind Cam Ward. They could use a veteran behind him to just kind of solidify that position and help out. Is that a potential trade partner for the Browns? So let us know what you guys think in the comments. Again, if you want to play fantasy football with us, join thethogs.com. Get over there. It's just $5 a month to be part of the Patreon to help support the show. Basically, you're donating a cup of coffee a month to the podcast. You don't even know it's gone, but it helps out the show a ton, and we really appreciate all of our Dog Pack members at jointhedawgs.com. Get over there. Sign up for fantasy football today. There are still plenty of spots open, but we are starting to divvy up the leagues and assign everything, so get in and get your spot locked down. Thanks again for joining me. We will be coming to you guys again later this week. Me and Justin we're going to try to put out something pretty immediately after training camp on Saturday. We're going to be up there. We're going to get our eyes on this quarterback position and just see what is what, so we can finally quit leaning on the opinions of all these other people and tell you guys what we saw specifically ourselves. Very excited for that. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss anything coming up. Make sure you tap the notification bell, subscribe on YouTube, so it all comes straight to your feed. Whew. Okay. It's been a fun day. I'm going to get out and enjoy the weather. You guys do the same. Enjoy it. And until I see you guys after training camp, let's go Brownies.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Baden Sports. Browns fans, it's summertime. Time to get outside and take advantage of the beautiful weather and play some backyard games. Head over to badensports.com, BADEN sports.com/dogs, and check out all their summertime gear. And for 10% off your entire order, just use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. Now, if you guys love pickleball, Baden Sports has all the gear you need, including a variety of paddles, balls, and complete pickleball sets with a pack-and-go carry case so you can play in the backyard or take it on vacation to play with the entire family. Baden Sports also has volleyball and badminton sets, croquet, horseshoes, bocce, and even Vikings chess. And no summer break is complete without some good old-fashioned wiffle ball. Plus, Baden has all kinds of different basketballs with special outer layers that are designed specifically for whatever surface you'll be playing on. So don't waste 1 second this summer. Head to badensports.com/dogs to get the backyard outdoor gaming gear that your family needs and get 10% off your entire order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. That's badensports.com/dogs.